morning everyone. My name is Venkat, chemistry faculty. So we are dealing the carbon family. In the last previous parts, already we discussed the general physical properties and about the allotropes of the carbon and also the compounds of carbon. That is carbon monoxide we discussed. In the carbon monoxide, the preparation of carbon monoxide, the properties of carbon monoxide and the uses of carbon monoxide and the structure of carbon monoxide we discuss. Now let us we continue the next compound of carbon, that is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide general formula is CO2, carbon dioxide. If you see the carbon dioxide can exist in the nature, it can exist in free form, in free state, or in combined state. In combined form it can exist. In the free state, as we know, in the air, carbon dioxide is present in 0.03%. The composition of carbon dioxide in the atmospheric air is 0.03% in air. That's in a free state. Whereas in the combined state, present in rocks in the form of CaCO3 or MgCO3, in the form of calcium carbonate or magnesium carbonate, the carbon dioxide present in the combined form in rocks. So this is the existence of carbon dioxide in the nature. Coming to the preparation methods. Preparation methods of carbon dioxide. If you see the preparation methods, we can prepare the carbon dioxide in so many ways. The first one is by the combustion of coal or coke. By combustion. What do you mean the combustion? Burning in the presence of oxygen is called combustion. So you take coal or coke is nothing but carbon. So when the carbon on burning in the presence of oxygen, so oxygen is in excess amount here, not in limited supply. If you send the oxygen in limited supply, we get carbon monoxide. So when you send the oxygen in excess amounts, if you burn it, we will get CO2 gas. And remember that this is exothermic, that is a 394 kilojoule per mole of energy it will liberates. Okay, burning of coal liberates heat energy, so it's an exothermic. So its del H value is minus 394 kilojoule per mole. Clear? This is the first method. Next one, the second method is by calcination of lime. Calcination of lime. What do you mean by the calcination? Calcination is nothing but heating to very high temperatures in the absence of oxygen is called what? Calcination. See, lime is nothing but CaCO3 or limestone, generally limestone. Again, lime means CaO will come. So by calcination of limestone, you take the limestone CaCO3, you heat it to very high temperatures, then CaCO3 liberates CaO and CO2 into the atmosphere. So this is one more method. And the third one, not only limestone, you take any metallic carbonates. So by treating metal carbonates with acids like HCl, here with diluted acids. So when we treat the metallic carbonates with the diluted acids, like a diluted HCl, diluted H2SO4, likewise, we can get the carbon dioxide. You see, now I am taking metal carbonates, MCO3, where M is nothing but any metal, not a problem. So when metal carbonates on treated with a diluted HCl, here I am taking 2 moles of diluted HCl. Okay, we will get MCl2, metal chloride, plus H2O vapors plus CO2 gas. So this is one more method. And you take any hydrocarbons. So hydrocarbons on combustion. Hydrocarbons on combustion, we get CO2 and H2. Okay, for example, you take CXHY. CXHY, the hydrocarbon having X number of carbons, Y number of hydrogens. And usually it will consume X plus Y by 4 moles of O2. X plus Y by 4 moles of O2 and liberates X moles of CO2, X moles of CO2 and Y by 2 moles of H2O. So this is a general formula. You remember this. This is very, very useful to you wherever the combustion of hydrocarbon takes place. So I'm going to apply this formula to few hydrocarbons. First, methane you take, simplest hydrocarbon, CH4, and it consumes how many moles of oxygen? 1 X plus Y by 4. X value 1 here, Y value was 4. 1 plus 4 by 4. 1 plus 4 by 4 means 2 moles of, it consumes 2 moles of O2 and gives 1 mole of CO2 and 4 Y by 2 means 2 moles of H2O. Or else you take anything, I am taking 4 carbons containing alkyne, that is C4H6 I have taken. Okay, so C4H6, X plus Y by 4, that is 4 plus 6 by 4. So that is around 11 by 2 moles of O2 and gives 4 moles of CO2 and 3 moles of H2O. So likewise you can write the combustion reaction of any hydrocarbon by using this generalized formula. Okay, this is the general methods of preparations of carbon dioxide. Next, move on to the properties. If you see the properties, general physical properties, what do you know about the carbon dioxide? If you see the physical properties, the colorless, odorless, and non-flammable gas. Non-flammable gas. What do you mean by the non-flammable gas? Because of its non-flammable nature only, the CO2 is we are using as a fire extinguisher. Okay, it's a colorless, odorless and a non-flammable gas. Next one, the CO2 gas, its critical temperature is the TC. TC represents what? Critical temperature. The critical temperature of CO2 is 31 degrees Celsius. So once again, what is the critical temperature? Critical temperature is nothing but the maximum temperature up to which a gas can be liquefied. Once again, the maximum temperature up to which a gas can be liquefied, that temperature we call it as what? Critical temperature. Here, critical temperature of carbon dioxide is 31 degrees Celsius. It means what? Up to 31 degrees only we can liquefy CO2 gas. If it is more than that, beyond that, we cannot be liquefied. So, up to 31 means less than 31 degrees Celsius. So, it's our room temperature. So, at room temperature, we can easily liquefy carbon dioxide. Okay, so critical temperature of carbon dioxide is 31 degrees Celsius. So it can easily be liquefied. It can be easily be liquefied. And next one, if you see the CO2 gas, stability of the CO2 gas at room temperature, it is CO2 is very, very stable. Very, very stable. How can you say? For example, if you take the CO2, if you heat this CO2 to the temperature of 3100 kelvins, at 3100 kelvins, CO2 decomposes into CO plus half O2. At 3100 kelvins and only 76% of CO2 only decomposed. So even at that high temperature also, only 76% of CO2 only decomposing into CO and half O2. So it confirms that CO2 is most stable at room temperature. Clear? Next, move to its aqueous solution. The aqueous solution of CO2 is acidic in nature. The aqueous solution of CO2 is what? Acidic in nature. So, for example, by applying the pressure, if you pass CO2 gas into water, okay, you applied the pressure. By applying the pressure, if you send the CO2 gas into the water, generally the CO2 will dissolve in it and it produces H2CO3. What is this? Carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. Okay, beverage, soft drinks. So what they do? They send the CO2 into the bottles and apply the pressure simultaneously, and at high pressure only the CO2 will dissolve in it and it becomes what? Carbonic acid. When you open the lid, okay, we get a sound like is sound. That means what? The pressure was released. When the pressure releases, automatically the solubility of the CO2 gas in the water also decreases, so that gas will be eliminates, like a small bubbles will come from down to top. So this is a simple example. So when you send the CO2 into the water, we get carbonic acid. So because of the formation of the carbonic acid, it is in which nature? Acidic in nature. And this carbonic acid releases two H plus ions and they forms carbonate ion. So this is about the aqueous solution of carbon dioxide. And one more thing, CO2. CO2 acts as strong oxidizing agent. So remember that in your textbook they given reducing agent, they given, it's a mistake. CO2 in generally it is an oxidizing agent. How can you say it's an oxidizing agent? Simple logic here. In CO2, what is the oxidation state of carbon? +4. Okay, what is the highest oxidation state of carbon? +4 only. That means the element is already in its highest oxidation state. If the element is already in its highest oxidation state, it can only act as an oxidizing agent. It never be act as a reducing agent. So here CO2 acts as what? A strong oxidizing agent, and it oxidizes metals to metal oxides. For example, I am taking if you send CO2 into magnesium, what happened? 2 moles of magnesium I have taken. So this magnesium becomes what? Magnesium oxide, and the CO2 becomes carbon. That means what? CO2 here is oxidizing magnesium into magnesium oxide. So it is an oxidizing agent and itself reduces. Okay, so here CO2 acts as a strong oxidizing agent, whereas a CO is a reducing agent. Remember that. Okay, next one. And water gas equilibrium. What is water gas equilibrium? This is only we discuss as a reaction with hydrogen. Reaction with hydrogen. How CO2 will react with hydrogen? You may get the doubt. Both hydrogen is present in the air, CO2 is also present in the air. If both are presented in the air, they both will be react at room they both will react and they make you some other product. But remember that hydrogen and CO2, they are inert at room temperature. They cannot be react at room temperature. Only when we apply the external conditions like high pressure and heat, when we supply the heat, then only they can be react and they give the product. So when you supply that external conditions, that is when CO2 reacts with hydrogen, they gives CO plus H2O. This mixture we are getting. So this is what we call as water gas equilibrium reaction. So these are some chemical properties of carbon dioxide. Okay. Next, move to the structure of carbon dioxide. If you see the structure of carbon dioxide, it's a linear structure. Linear structure. And if you see the structure, C double bond O, double bond O. Likewise. So here this carbon, how many of sigma bonds? 2 sigma bonds. How many of pi bonds? 2 pi bonds. Total 4. The total number of bonds are 4. What is the hybridization? sp3 2 sigma 2 pi bonds. So because of presence of 2 sigma 2 pi bonds, it is sp hybridization. sp hybridization. Total number of sigma bonds are 2. So it's a sp hybridization. Next one. So do you remember that if the total number of sigma 4 sigma is sp3, 3 sigma that is sp2, 2 sigma with 2 pi bonds that is sp hybridization. With the 1 pi bond is sp2 and this is sp. So just remember that based upon the 2 sigma 2 pi bonds, the carbon is involved in 2 sigma 2 pi bond, that is what sp hybridization. So because of sp hybridization it is a linear structure. Next one, if you see the resonating structures of this, say I'm just drawing the resonating structures, and each oxygen having 2 lone pairs. Okay, suppose if these lone pairs are transferred from here to here, this double bond becomes what? Triple bond. Immediately these have been taken by this oxygen. So one structure is what? One resulting structure is O, and 2 lone pairs becomes 3 lone pairs. 1, 2, 3, and it's getting a negative charge because it has gained these pi electrons. And this double bond becomes triple bond. And finally it is losing a lone pair, so it gets a positive charge. So this is one resonating structure. Similarly, the same in the reverse. For example, if it donates, then it will takes. Then O, triple bond, positive, single bond O, negative. So this is the resonance hybrids of these 2 resonating structures. Overall, if you see this all resonating structures in the resonance hybrid, total how many of sigma bonds, CO sigma bonds are there? In the overall structure, total 2 CO sigma bonds are present. Right? Here 1 CO sigma bond, here 1 CO sigma bonds. Right? Next, how many of electrons are dislocating? How many total? Total 2 here 2 pi electrons, here also 2 pi electrons, here also 2 pi electrons. So total 2 pi electron means 2 pairs of pi electrons. 2 pairs of pi electrons means total 4 pi electrons between how many of centers? 3 centers. So we can write it has total 2 CO sigma bonds and total 3 centered 4 pi electrons. 3 centered, why we are called as a 3 centered? 1, 2, 3, 3 centers, 4 pi electrons. Why? Because 2 bonds are 2 pi bonds are there. 2 pi bonds means 4 pi electrons. So 3 centered 4 pi electrons are dislocating or rounding on 3 atoms. So this is about the structure of CO2 gas. Okay, so next, if you see the uses of CO2, uses, where we use. So generally CO2 is used to maintain inert atmosphere. Inert atmosphere. Whenever if you wanted to maintain an inert atmosphere, not acidic or not basic, inert atmosphere, we use CO2 there. Next one. The dry or the solid CO2 we call it as what? Dry ice. Dry ice. Dry ice has many applications. Okay. Next one. And this CO2 is used as fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher. Because of its inflammable nature, to cut the fire, okay, we use carbon dioxide. Okay, next, it is also used in beverages. Beverages means what? Soft drinks, soda water, soft drinks. So we are using this carbon dioxide in beverages, and as also whipping agent. Whipping agent means propelling agent. For example, while they are making the ice creams, solid ice cream, this dry ice they use, okay, this carbon dioxide they use. So they are using CO2 as a beverages and also a whipping agent. Likewise, so many applications with this CO2, okay, and also in photosynthesis. Okay, in photosynthesis to maintain the food, to prepare, to synthesize food material by the plants. Okay, as we know, in photosynthesis, what is the reaction? 6 moles of CO2 and 12 H2O in presence of chlorophyll, okay, and light, we get C6H12O6. Because in photosynthesis, CO2 is converting into what? Glucose. So these are some uses of CO2. Okay, so we discussed the two compounds of carbon, that is carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. And one more point, in the last part of the video, okay, one small point, that is what Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. Okay, we discussed the chemical reaction, but I forgot to mention that name, Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. What is a Fischer-Tropsch synthesis? That's what when carbon monoxide reacts with hydrogen, reacts with hydrogen in the presence of less than 50 atmosphere pressure and a metal, and the temperature of 600 to 700 kelvins, we are getting hydrocarbon. Okay, and that method of preparation, see, I am writing here n moles of CO. When n moles of CO reacts with the 2n plus 1 moles of hydrogen, okay, we are getting Cn H2n plus 2 plus n moles of H2. Okay, so this is one type. And when n moles of CO reacts with the 2n moles of hydrogen, we are getting CnH2n alkenes plus n moles of H2. Likewise, we are preparing hydrocarbon. This is what alkane and this is what alkene from the mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, where the temperature of less than 50 atmosphere pressure in presence of metal as a catalyst, and at the temperature of 600 to 700 kelvins. And this method of preparation of hydrocarbons from water gas mixture, we call it as what? Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. So that point I forgot. So this is about the compounds of carbon. Next, we discuss the compounds of silicon. Okay, let's discuss the compounds of silicon. Compounds of silicon. In this compounds of silicon, we discuss mainly silicon tetrachloride, SiCl4. The second one, silica, SiO2, silica. And the third one, silicones, and the fourth one, silicates. Under the silicates only we will get the concept of zeolites. So this is the, if we finish this, then this chapter will be over. Let us discuss one by one. The first one is silicon tetrachloride. Yes, what is a silicon tetrachloride and how can we prepare this silicon tetrachloride? If you see the preparation methods, preparation from silica. Preparation of silicon tetrachloride from silica. Let us see how. First, you take the intimate mixture of silica with carbon. So I am taking mixture of silica with carbon. Mixture. To this mixture, if you pass dry chlorine gas. If you pass dry chlorine gas at the temperature of 1673 kelvins, okay, we get SiCl4 with carbon monoxide. Okay, as a byproduct. Let us see. I am taking silica is nothing but SiO2. To this SiO2, I am adding carbon and chlorine, dry chlorine gas. So when you pass the dry chlorine gas into this intimate mixture, we get SiCl4 plus remaining is what? 2 moles of carbon monoxide. So this is the one method of preparation of silicon tetrachloride. Next method of preparation from silicon From silicon we can directly prepare. How? By treatment of the silicon with acid like HCl. So see, silicon, when we pass HCl fumes onto the silicon, when you send the HCl fumes into the silicon, we directly get SiCl4 and liberates what? Hydrogen gas. Directly we can get SiCl4 with liberation of hydrogen gas. So these are the two best methods of preparation of what? Silicon tetrachloride. Next, if you see the properties of this, if you see the properties of the silicon tetrachloride, physical appearance, how the silicon tetrachloride appears. Generally, as like what carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, it is also colorless. Okay, colorless, but it's a fused liquid. Colorless, fused liquid. It's a liquid, not a gas, and it can be freezes at -71 degrees. Remember that. It's a colorless, fused liquid and can be freeze at -71 degrees Celsius. Next one, on hydrolysis. On hydrolysis. Hydrolysis can done by using water, by using ether. Let us see both one by one. Suppose if you do the hydrolysis, with water, let us see what will happen. When SiCl4 on hydrolysis with water, that is H2O, what happened? All 4 chloride ions are replaced by the hydroxide ions, that is Si. So in the place of chlorines, what will come? OH ions will come. So SiOH taken 4. So what we call, this is what we call it as silicic acid. Silicic acid, remember that. And this silicic acid also we call it as silica also. Why? Because if you remove the water from it, we get SiO2 only. So SiCl4 on hydrolysis with water, okay, and with moist water, we get what? Silicic acid, remember that. Suppose if you do the hydrolysis of SiCl4 with ether, what will happen? Let us see. When SiCl4 on hydrolysis with ether, moist ether, we get the compound, the polymer like this, that is what? Cl, SiCl2ON, SiCl3. So like this kind of polymer we get. What we call this one? This is linear perchlorosiloxane. Linear perchlorosiloxane. Here this SiCl2O, this unit is repeating itself. And where, how many times? Where N value is equal to 1 to 6. N value can be 1 to 6. So likewise we are getting, when SiCl4, silicon tetrachloride on hydrolysis with moist ether, we get perchlorosiloxanes. Remember that. So this is the hydrolysis with water and hydrolysis with ether. Next one, on alcoholysis. Alcoholysis, not hydrolysis. Alcoholysis means if you add alcohols to it, if you treat the silicon tetrachloride with alcohols, what will happen? Yes, it undergoes substitution. So in the place of chlorines, here a nucleophile. What is the nucleophile which is coming from alcohols? RO, alkoxide ions. So when SiCl4 treated with alcohols, okay, it undergoes substitution. So what reagent is substituting? Alkoxy nucleophile will substitute in the place of chloride ions. So here I am writing SiCl4 on treatment with ROH. So what do you mean by ROH? Alcohols. How many? 4 moles I have used. So all 4 chloride ions are replaced by 4 alkoxide ions. We get SiOR taken 4. So what is the name of this one? Tetra alkoxysilane. So what is the name of this one? Tetra alkoxysilane. Tetra alkoxysilane. So on alcoholysis, silicon tetrachloride undergoes substitution reaction. Okay, we get tetra alkoxysilanes. Next, on ammonolysis. On ammonolysis means by the treatment with ammonia, what we'll get. See, when SiCl4 first treated with 1 mole of ammonia, we get, so what happened, one of the chloride ion is replaced by NH3 and we get SiCl3NH2. This on further treatment with SiCl4, we get SiCl3NH, SiCl3. SiCl3NH, SiCl3. What we call this one? Chlorosilazane. Remember this. Chlorosilazane. So on ammonolysis, silicon tetrachloride will give chlorosilazane compounds. So these are some chemical properties, the properties of silicon tetrachloride. Okay, clear. Next, if we see the uses of them, uses of silicon tetrachloride, mainly this silicon tetrachloride is used for the preparation of semiconducting silica. So used to synthesize semiconducting. You know about the semiconductors, right? Semiconducting silica. To synthesize semiconducting silica, it is used as a precursor. Next, one more thing, it is also used as a starting material. So it is used as starting material for the preparation of silica gel, silicic esters, so as for the preparation of silica gel, silicic esters, and also silicates, and also silicate, and also binder for ceramic materials. You know, if we take the tiles, to attach the tiles very well, they use some coating material. What is that? SiCl4. It is also used as what? Binder for ceramics. So these are some uses of silicon tetrachloride. One is, it is used to synthesize what? Semiconducting silicon, and also it is used as a starting material for the preparation of silica gel, and also silicic esters, and also a binder for ceramics. So these are some uses of silicon tetrachloride. Next compound of silicon is SiO2. We call it as silica. It's nothing but sand. Simply in our words, if we call it just sand. Let us see. The silica can exist in two forms, that is in crystalline form and amorphous form. You may get the doubt, is sand is in amorphous form? Of course, I didn't see. They gave crystalline form and amorphous form. Crystalline, what are the examples for the crystalline silica? So that is what? Quartz, cristobalite. Remember these words, cristobalite, tridymite. So these are the three examples for crystalline silica. And amorphous is Kieselguhr. Remember these words. So because they may give you 4 options, which among the following is it what amorphous silica or what crystalline silica, they may ask you. So this is about the crystalline and amorphous silica. And if you see the properties, generally the silica It can be reactive with bases like NaOH, Na2CO3 and all. Suppose if you treat SiO2 with NaOH or Na2CO3 or any metal carbonates, anything. Okay, they can be reactive with this all and they forms silanes, Na2SiO3. Sodium silane will come. It will react with any one of them and they gives what? Sodium silane. This is one reaction. And one more reaction, you remember that. Okay, it is reacting with the bases and salts of bases, right? What about the acids? Remember that silica will never react with acids. Silica never reacts with acid except HF. Except HF, any other acid never react with silica. How the HF will react? Let us see. In case of HF, SiO2 reacts with a HF and they gives SiF4 first. Silicon tetrafluoride it will give first. It is on further reacts with a HF and it gives H2 SiF6 complex. Hexafluorosilicon complex will give. So that is why we should not store HF acid in the glass, in the silica. Okay, any other acid you can store, but HF cannot. So these are some properties of important properties of SiO2. Okay, next move on to the third compound of silicon, that is what? Silicones. Silicones. Yes, what are silicones? So the silicones also we call it as, we are calling as polysiloxanes. This is another term, another name we can use in the place of silicone, but silicones is easy compared to the polysiloxanes. There is another term, silicones. What are silicones exactly? So silicones are nothing but organosilicon polymers. Silicones are nothing but organosilicon polymers having, I think here, until here you get an idea, silicons are polymers. Point to remember, silicons are nothing but organosilicon polymers having R2SiO, unit as repeating unit. So in this silicones, which is a repeating unit? R2SiO is the repeating unit. So this R2SiO I am writing as SiRRO. So this is a repeating unit of silicones. So simple definition for the silicones. Silicones are nothing but organosilicon polymers having R2SiO unit as a repeating unit. That is nothing but silicones. And the name silicones, why we are calling them as a silicones? There was a reason. If you see the repeating unit, that is R2SiO is similar to R2CO. So R2CO is a ketone. This is a ketone. So the functional group, the general formula, empirical formula of silicones, repeating unit is nothing but empirical formula we can call. So the empirical formula of silicone, that is R2SiO, is similar to the empirical formula of ketones. So that is why ketone. So similarly we are calling them as so-called, that is why we are calling them as silicones. Understood the story behind the name? It's nothing but the empirical formula of silicone, that is R2SiO, is similar to the empirical formula of ketone, that is R2CO, so called silicones. Okay, so these silicones, if you see the preparation methods of silicones, we can prepare this by using R2SiCl2. R2SiCl, there is a dialkyl dichlorosilane. So what is the name of this one? Dialkyl dichlorosilane. One more point here, R group, it can be alkyl group or aryl group, whatever it may be, alkyl or aryl. Okay, so we will continue this silicon spot in the next part of the video. Okay, until then, take care.